All right. Hello and welcome back to day 5 of the Canvas mini series this semester. Today we're going to go over engaging assessments with Harmonize. So this is our last session for the week for the Canvas mini series. Thank you to everyone who's been here every day, once, twice, it doesn't matter because what's happening is that you all are wanting to grow and develop and learn more about Canvas in order to create a better learning experience for your students. So thank you again. Dr. Slaughter, you're driving again. Please don't do that. Please be safe. Again, my name is Dr. Colleen Smith. I'm an instructional designer with the Office of E-Learning. I'm also an adjunct for the School of Education. My email address is there for anyone who has a question about something in particular in Canvas. But also, what I've added in the chat is the tiny URL to schedule a one-on-one appointment with anyone in the Office of E-Learning who can help answer your questions. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So our goal today is to talk about discussions, video discussions, or any type of discussions with Harmonize and different assignments that Harmonize can help us create. So what I'd love for you all to do is introduce yourselves in the chat. So please add your department and maybe what's an assessment that might support your students a little bit more as being a collaborative assignment rather than just an upload assignment. So while you all think about that and type that in the chat for me, let's go over a little bit of the research and the quotes that we've received from students. So when we ask students what a high quality online course has, like what elements does a high quality online course show? We got two really cool answers. Well, we got more than this, but these are the two that I'm highlighting today. And one is instructors grading work and providing constructive feedback within a reasonable amount of time, which was very telling, right? And then the second one that I wanted to highlight is clearly defined grading metrics and use of advanced technology and multimedia. So, one of the pieces that we work on in the Office of E-Learning and in some of our professional development, like Top Academy, is transparent assessments. And those transparent assessments basically say, this is how I'm going to grade you. Based on the learning objectives, this is how I'm going to grade you. So, you know what I expect from you in order to submit here. And then that can go all the way into academic integrity guidelines. So then the next quote we have is a barrier for me is feeling alone in the course and not feeling like we're able to connect with anyone to ask questions or bounce ideas off of. Now, one of the themes that came out of some of this research is that students feel very lonely online and they want a sense of collaboration, but they don't want group projects. Like they want to be able to work with their fellow peers, but they don't want their grades dependent on other people in the class. So that's why I think I like Harmonize so much, is because it's a way to be collaborative, but students' grades are not dependent on other people in the class. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the chat here. So we have someone from the School of Business here. Hi, Dr. Murray. Thanks for being here. We want to look into, there's someone else here from Language and Literature, Dr. Han, and you want to make a social or collaborative annotations type of assessment, and that sounds good. Um, Dr. Beamsley, criminal justice, a group debate. Ooh, I like that. That's a great idea. And then Dr. Terry in music, it varies per course. For example, the 3000 level courses and senior seminar have debates, they have writing workshops and presentations, and everyone gives feedback. So I love all of this. And there is a way with Harmonize we can do this, all of these on online in our Canvas courses. So thank you so much for being here. All right, so like any good course, we also have learning objectives for our workshop. And the first one is identify assessment best practices using Harmonize to support engagement. I actually have best practices for assessments and then best practices with Harmonize assessments for today's workshop. And then the second bullet is select one assessment in your course that can be transformed using Harmonize. So a discussion, a poll, a document annotation, something of that nature. And then we'll go through a demonstration for that. And then the third is practice creating a discussion with Harmonize's AI generator. So one of the coolest things about Harmonize is that you may not even have to create the prompts for your discussion. What you might be able to do actually is to put in the learning objectives and have Harmonize's AI generator that works with ChatGPT to create that prompt for you to make it a little bit faster. All right. So then why are engaging assignments important? Why do they matter exactly? So the first point I have is that they build community between students and the instructor. It helps fight that loneliness feeling that sometimes online students have. The next is prepare students for real world application. So, specifically for criminal justice, I'm sure debates are something that should be done within the real world context, right? So, being able to bring that into your online course and have them debate and practice those skills in maybe a video harmonized discussion, then that is a really cool way to prepare our students for the real world. And then the next is align your assignments with the course and module level learning objectives. So, as you all know, in the Office of E-Learning, we're big proponents of quality, and those quality assurance matters start at the course level. You have course level objectives, and then you have module level objectives. And each module level objective should then help you reach that course level objective. So, within the module, when you have an assessment or an assignment, this term called alignment. You want to make sure that the learning objectives are actually being measured with the assignment. So if you say, discuss the pros and cons of XYZ, you actually want to have a discussion for them, not an assignment upload, right? And have them answer the questions, what are the pros of X? What are the cons of X? What are the pros of Y? What are the cons of Y? So they're actually completing those learning objectives and you're measuring them based on maybe a rubric. Did they point out pros and cons of X? Did they point out pros and cons of Y? You're actually measuring how well they have applied the learning objectives within that assessment. And that's what alignment is, and that's what we care about for quality assurance. So now let's kind of move into the harmonize place and look at that. I want to make sure that I am sharing the correct information. I thought I shared my sound. Nope, I didn't. Okay, great. So let me know, give me a thumbs up if you can hear this video. That would be fantastic.
Imagine if every instructor could use ChatGPT from within their LMS to write a better discussion prompt in seconds. All they would have to do would be able to give a little bit of information about their course, what they're hoping to discuss that week, and let ChatGPT do the rest. So as ChatGPT is writing this prompt for me, why don't we take a look at what we're doing? So we are coaching ChatGPT on sound pedagogy based on Bloom's taxonomy so that we can create a compelling series of discussion prompts that leverage different interaction strategy inside the class. Our goal here is to allow instructors to do that in a few seconds and to be able to deploy those at scale across the institution. Added bonus, because of the different interaction strategy, you get a lot of variation in your prompts so we don't fall into a rut where students are answering the same thing week over week and do that all without leaving their LMS. Couple that with harmonized engagement tools and it allows for the discussion to really soar. So let's take a look at our discussion prompt here. It's now written. I can go ahead and take that and use it if I want, or I can just add for some additional critique to make sure that I am making this discussion topic my own. And now I can see that it's going to rewrite that, including my suggestions for what I would like it to accomplish. If you're interested in hearing more about that, you can go to harmonizelearning.com, where we have the ability for you to schedule a demo and see what it looks like, or try it free in your upcoming semester.
And you all can try it for free because we have it at our campus. So don't worry about that. But it's really cool how they showed you that you can create that prompt through an AI prompt generator. All right, so Canvas and Harmonize best practices for assignments. For assignments, we want to align them with learning objectives, exactly what I explained earlier. We want to use real world scenarios, so case studies. What would you do if blank, blank, blank would happen? Give transparent instructions. We talked about those transparent assessments, right? With this is how I'm going to grade you, and this is what I expect with academic integrity guidelines. If you can use AI, how you might use AI, how you might cite that you've used AI, something of that nature. How you expect them to interact in the discussion, but also you interacting in the middle of the discussion and being that present instructor throughout the assignments that you give to your students. The next is require purposeful peer feedback. Can't tell you how many times I've been a part of a class or a professional development thing where someone's like, reply to your peers. And you're like, okay, but about what? Basically, if you give no criteria or prompts for the peer replies, literally you're just going to have people doing busy work saying, I agree with you, great point, or, you know, you could also think about this. Like it's not in a way where they're critically thinking or critiquing or giving feedback to their peers. They're just saying, great point, Dr. Hand, and it really doesn't add to the conversation. It doesn't add to the learning, right? So, require purposeful peer feedback, which requires us to give prompts for not just the initial post, but also how you might reply to your peers. And then the next for assignments is align your feedback with the learning objectives. So, great that you're measuring them on the rubric that is based on the learning objectives, but also you can't just come out of left field and be like, oh, but you didn't add rainbows into your visuals when you're not measuring them on rainbows, you're maybe measuring them on color theory, and you're wondering why they didn't use rainbows or giving them feedback on rainbows. There's no point in that. So, thank you all for coming to my metaphor land today. It has been a week. So, please keep riding with me if you possibly can. All right, so going into best practices for Harmonize. Using that AI prompt generator, I am an advocate for AI as long as you keep it humanized and you read through what they've created and you agree with it. Usually, what ends up happening is that I add something through AI and I'm like, you know what, I don't really 100% love this, and I end up editing it myself to say, only two of these questions are good, or I'm going to edit that third question because that's just not exactly what I'm going for here. Or it might be inappropriate because ChatGPT, to be honest, is technology, and technology is not neutral. So we can find a lot of biases in that. So I think it's really important for our students that we read through everything and we use our critical thinking skills to make sure that if we are using an AI prompt generator, that we are not assuming or not letting the technology assume things for us because technology has biases. The next is for harmonized assignments, we can actually ask students to annotate the syllabus. That's what I did, and I'll show you in one of the examples that we have a demonstration today. I asked my students, annotate the syllabus, give me 3 points of interest that you thought were interesting in my syllabus, give me 2 questions, and then give me one, it's called a 3-2-1 activity, and give me one thing. If you were teaching the class, what would you change? What does that look like? And that gives students a sense of collaboration when they're all answering questions together, or I'm piping in mid conversation or in mid-week saying, here's an answer to this question, here's an answer to this question, and then everyone benefits from that collaborative annotation, right? The next is require purposeful peer replies. Even if you're doing video feedback, you also want to require those purposeful peer replies, and give those prompts to your students, not just for the initial post, but also how do you want them to reply to their peers? What exactly are you hoping that they'll get out of this peer review, peer reply piece? The next is you can give multimedia feedback. You can give time-stamped multimedia feedback, which means you can record yourself giving feedback, or you can give text feedback on their multimedia on a very specific place. And for some of our arts, that's important to say, hey, this animation is a little off, or hey, I think that these colors of your rainbow are off. It's something to be able to timestamp and say, this isn't quite working for me, right? And to give that feedback based on the learning objectives. And then the last is that you can use polls for quick check-ins and quick temperature checks within the course. I put one in because I started using Harmonize in my class, and I just assumed the students would know that I meant a video discussion, but they just used it as like a text discussion. So in module 2, I was like, Would you rather keep with text discussion or would you rather do a video discussion for the rest of the semester? Like, I just want to know where you're at, what you think, and what would be easiest for you. So I'll show you some of those examples in the demonstration. What I'm going to try to do quickly is create an assignment, show you how we do that on Canvas, and then add that external tool, which is Harmonize, save the assignment, and then you can update the Harmonize assignment, and then you can decide on grading settings. But then also, I want to see if there is time for us to kind of input a prompt in Harmonize to use that AI generator. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this is an example of a video introduction that I'm asking our faculty to do in one of our development pieces. I used the AI prompt generator for this. So what happens is that you have all these pieces and I have different sections within a class that I can go to. I'm asking students to have one post and then reply to their peers to just say, hey, how's it going? Right? So here is the initial post, and then here is the prompt for the reply. And what you'll see, this is last semester's Top Academy, that they are video posts, right? So this is one of the video posts in another assignment that I asked faculty to do. And what you'll see is that there is their video here. When you click into the discussion, you can respond within the video. I chose to just respond with text personally as the facilitator. But then we got another faculty member being amazing and like giving time-stamped comments based on their peer. So there are a lot of different ways that students can kind of play around and tinker and give feedback on, but I thought that this was a great way to explain kind of what the possibilities are for Harmonize. All right, so this is another introduction, and this is what I said. I just assumed my students would do a video introduction, when in actuality, they just decided to type. And that's fine because I realized that I did not say video discussions on Harmonize, and I also did not give them the instructions on how to do the video discussion. So part of it was on me. So they are able to then respond with different emojis as well. You can say great idea. You can say this was insightful. You can say this was funny, depending on an emoji. And it's kind of a social media-esque type of deal. And then you have everyone who's reacting and replying back in that one thread. So, and then you'll see that at the end, I put, hey, great points. I love this. And then I'm actually interacting in these posts with them. Now, another harmonized possibility, like I said, is this annotation of a PDF. This is my syllabus that I ask students to annotate. So when I move into the different annotations, you can see that they have highlighted and then they've put their notes or which part of the 3, 2, 1 that they're doing, so that I can kind of follow along. But you can see all these highlights throughout, even pretty far down in my syllabus, which is great because then to me that means that they have read at least to the weekly table chart, and that I feel good that they've actually reviewed the things that I need them to review. And it has become a fun like way for them to collaborate together and get to know what the semester is going to look like. And last but not least, this is what the poll looks like. So with the poll, I really just said, would you rather video discussion boards, recording yourself, or doing written discussion boards for the rest of the semester? And I put video, I'm camera ready, written, I don't like to be recorded because I feel like that's kind of the camps of two sides. And I'm also open, and I put in here all the time, please let me know if you have any other preferences. I want to be able to respond to those preferences throughout the semester. So, how we add Harmonize now. We're got 9 minutes. I'm going to quickly do this. So what you'll see is that I have a discussion here in my module 12, and then I also have an assignment here. The one thing about Harmonize, even though you're doing like a video discussion or a discussion post in Harmonize, it has to be an assignment. It cannot be a discussion, or else it won't really be read as a graded and then integrate into the grade book. So we want to delete the discussion, even though that's what I want to do, and work on it with just the assignment. All right, so I'm going to open up the assignment after I created an assignment. I'm going to click edit. And here, this is where I would put instructions for the assignment here, right? I would make my points. All of my discussions are 20 points. And instead of no submission, for the submission type, I would go into external tool. So then with the external tool, then you would click find. Whoop. And here, oh man, okay. And here I would look for Harmonize. So here's Harmonize right here. I'm going to click on that. And then this fun thing pops up. What you're looking for is a discussion. You can set up a peer review, a PDF annotation, an individual assignment, or a poll for students. So these are all the options. My suggestion is to go in and kind of tinker with it and experiment a little bit with it until you know exactly what you want. So there's a question. Is Harmonize better or easier than the native way to annotate PDFs in Canvas? That's a great question, Dr. Han. I am unaware of a way to annotate PDFs in Canvas. Are you talking about the speed grader and annotating PDFs there? Because I know that this is collaborative, but if you are annotating in the speed grader to give feedback to your students, that's just a one-on-one conversation between the student and you. I'm not sure if that's a collaborative type of piece, but good question.
Okay. No, no, thank you. Yeah, no, that is really helpful. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. So today what we're going to do is a discussion because I love video discussions, and I'm going to click select. Now that's all I can do. I could put a due date, all that, but I'm going to click save for right now. After that, the one thing that it always gets me, I always have to go back to edit because the one thing that it gets me is once you click on Harmonize, it automatically checks this load this tool in a new tab, and I can't stand it because I'm like, what's the least amount of clicks to get my students to get to where I want them to go? So I unclick it because I always want it in the new tab, and I click save. Okay, so then what happens is that it just kind of pops up. And then this is the only thing that you see as the instructor. You have to set it up. So here are the options. You can configure manually, or you can go through all of the writing prompts to figure out how to do this. So the deadline's not set. I'm gonna say it's November 9th, 2025. Ooh, that's available from. I'm gonna put the zeros back there. Oh man. Okay, so the due date for me is gonna be 11/9/2025. And I'm gonna update those dates. Okay, so then I'm going to encourage students to participate by putting one post 4 days before the due date and two comments by the due date. That means the initial post will be, if the due date is on a Sunday, the initial post will be due on a Wednesday, right? And that's their initial post. And then two comments by the due date. So then they should be complete with everything by the due date, right? And then this here says automatically calculate and send individual grades to gradebook based on each student's on-time completion. So this has to deal with measuring the student's engagement in the discussion as a grade. I like to do it as a rubric to make sure that they are aligned with the learning objectives. However, if you don't have time and this is a weekly assignment for you, you can automatically have that imported into your grade book. All right, so here is the AI prompt generator. What should the AI include in your activity? So I already have this the purpose of my assignment in here, and I want to add my learning objectives because we should always add the learning objectives to make sure that it's aligned with your learning objectives. All right. And then I'm going to click generate instructions. So it is generating the instructions right now. And in the ideal world, I would review this, I would give some improvements, and then I would be good to go. So what you can do is review this and edit and say, please complete this, and then say, do not use AI, or if you use AI, please cite it, because that's what I'd like to do. And then I'm going to set up the rubric and the AI coach. But sometimes I don't use the AI coach because I feel like it is, I don't know what it's doing. So sometimes I don't trust it yet because I haven't played around with it enough. But that doesn't mean that you can't use it if you're a proponent of AI coaches. So this might take a while. So I might go to configure manually. So the prompt is already there and everything is there. And then I'm going to click publish only because I didn't have enough time because I have 3 minutes left. And then that is our published piece. So when someone creates a post, you can create your own post. You can add different medias or files in order to create this post. So you can add this as a video, you can add this as this would be the video here that someone would record. Oh, this is nice. So you can see all the different ways that people can interact. So there's an HTML piece, there's a link, there's just audio. You can record your screen, you can schedule a meeting, add a poll, and add an annotation. So that is what Harmonize looks like. All right. So I think I tried to do both of them quickly. If you have other questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. So my challenge for you today is to create one harmonized discussion that's aligned to a course learning objective or a module learning objective. Post a sample multimedia reply in a harmonized discussion so that your students know what you're expecting from them. And then you could probably create a harmonized poll to gather quick student feedback so that you can act on it and be flexible for your students' needs throughout the semester. And then last challenge that I have, if you're willing to accept it, is to upload a PDF and set up an annotation assignment that's collaborative in Harmonize. But the bottom line is that Harmonize can turn discussions and assessments into a collaborative, student-centered learning experience when their peers don't have to change their grade, where their grades are not dependent on how well their peers are engaged or not. Dr. Slary, yes. So we can expand on Harmonize for sure. I think that there might be another workshop from the Office of E-Learning. It may not be me, it might be someone else. But yes, there's a lot to do with Harmonize. So it's difficult to do that in 30 minutes. So I tried to pick one thing that would be beneficial for everyone. And for me, that's video discussion boards. So, but yes, I hope that I can get the workshop URL up again. So last but not least, remember that we are asking you to fill out evaluations. And then once you fill out that evaluation, I'm going to need you to email me to let me know that you've completed the evaluations. When you email me that you have completed the evaluations for which days that you've completed them for, then I will be able then to give you a badge according to this. So I have not submitted anyone's information for the badges yet because I wanted to give everyone the chance to submit the evaluation today on Friday for any of the mini series that you have attended. So please go ahead and click on the URL that is in the chat or use the QR code to go to the evaluation. You can fill out one evaluation for all 5 days, or you can fill out the evaluation for just today and I will still see it. So please be sure to email me if you've completed any of the evaluations and which ones you've completed and which days. I also have a record of attendance, so I'll be able to kind of backtrack and take a look at that and make sure that we are following up with everybody. So thank you all so very much for being here. Again, I was talking about Harmonize workshops. I believe we have one. If you want to scan the URL or go to tinyurl.com/OEL workshops, then we should be able to, or you should be able to find one that you want to sign up for in order to learn more about it. Of course. And last but not least, if let's say there is not a Harmonize workshop this upcoming semester, this is the faculty resource website. There are a lot of resources on there, including short videos on how-tos. I guarantee you we have some how to use Harmonize videos on there with our LMS and Canvas. So if that's not something that you'd like and you like that one-on-one type of interaction, I think that would be best. And then last but not least, if you don't have all the information that you were hoping to get today, we have our eNest. Our eNest newsletter goes out monthly throughout the fall and spring semesters, and I believe like once throughout the summer. So please to stay up to date on not just this semester's workshops, but next semester's workshops and some great tech tips and strategies for online learning. You'll be able to find those in our eNest. So thank you all so very much for being here. If you have any questions, I will remain on like always. And please let me know what else we can do for you. I'm excited that you all have been here, and this was our final mini series. So thank you.